Okay, here we are for one more episode of the Teenage Super Sleuths. Now, Professor Backflip brought to my attention that one of her favorite politicians, AOC, was claiming that Miami may not exist in a few years, and he sent me this video. So let's take a look and see what she says.
When it comes to climate change, what is not realistic is not responding to the crisis not responding with a solution on the scale of the crisis. Because what's not realistic is Miami not existing in a few years.
Okay.
That's not realistic.
Miami not existing in a few years. You heard that, okay?
Yeah.
Now, you were telling me that anytime you're dealing with real science, you just look at the data. The data tells the story, not politicians, right?
Yes.
So what you said is, once again, you seem to be so doggone familiar with these data sites that you said, let's go take a look. And you're saying that what we can do, check this theory out, is we go to NOAA?
NOAA. The National
Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, I think is what it's called?
Yes.
And you said there's a site called the Tides and Currents?
Yes, this shows the tides and currents of all the ocean.
Okay, and so you said what you do is it's tidesandcurrents.noaa.gov, all right? And you say you go to this website, and she said that Miami may not exist in a few years, right?
No, she blanket says Miami will not exist.
In a few years. Okay, well, you said we can test that theory, right?
Yeah, we'll test that theory.
So
and
you,
see.
you said go to U.S. stations, right? And then you get to this type of a state, and you go to Florida. Oh, actually, that looks like something's happened here. So it looks like we're going to have to go about this a different way. Let's just see. Station info. Let's see. Global stations. U.S. trend map. Regions.
What are we trying to get to?
Trying to get to, here we go. Okay, now we're going to go to the United States. For some reason, this thing's popping up. I don't know what's going on here.
I think it's the Men in Black.
Yeah, it could be. Okay, North America. We need to find the United States. Where the heck are we going? Let's see here. Okay, so what we did was we just went to the U.S. trend tables. For some reason, the other part isn't working.
NOAA's monitoring water levels. Oh.
Okay, maybe that's why it didn't work. Let's try it if I get rid of that. Let's see if we can go back here. See, it's giving me this thing. Let's see if I can get rid of that. See, it's not, for some reason, it blanks this out. So what we have to do is we have to go here to U.S. trend tables, okay, and it's going to populate these. Now, she said Miami was going to disappear, right?
Yeah, Miami is going to completely not exist in a few
so
years.
you said you go to this website, and look, lo and behold, look, we have data from Miami going back to 1931.
Yes.
Right?
So let's take a look.
Huh, but it looks like it ends in 1981. That's odd. But let's take a look. Okay. This basically is showing that Miami, the sea level in Miami, is going up about 2.39 meters a year?
Yes.
And you were telling me that's about the equivalent of 2 stacked pennies?
Yeah, that's about 2 pennies of sea level going up a year.
Well, the tide's much more than that. That's a
The
joke.
tide is completely
but
more
more
than that.
importantly, you were saying that if this would have started, if the data set would have started in the late 40s, the regression line would actually be downward sloping?
Yes.
So Miami since the 1950s is actually gaining ground, not losing ground? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, but look here. This is showing that the level is this level, but this level, which is actually 1980, is way below all these previous levels, right? And once again, if you drew a regression line from here, that Miami would actually be gaining land?
Yes.
That's really bizarre. So, but this, unfortunately, for some reason, it stops in 1980. So we don't know what happened up till 2000 or till here.
But if it continued at the same rate or even doubled, which would be
Yeah.
an enormous change, it would not be very concerning.
Yeah, because you're saying that what you can do then is go find another Florida state location that has maybe more time. And you're saying this Fernandale goes back to 1997? So let's go take a look and see, does this show any warm? And this goes up to current levels.
Yes, from
Why in the world they keep
1897 to
stop
2018.
tracking, okay? So here's Fernandale, and look at this. Oh my gosh, that does look like there's a trend. But that's 2 millimeters, 2.1, that's less than 2 pennies stacked on each other. More importantly, is this current level, if you draw a line back, is the same level it was in 1945. What sense does that make? It's almost the same level it was back in 1900.
Yes.
So the level is back at the same level it was in 1900, and AOC's telling people they got to run for the hills because Miami's going to disappear under ocean.
Miami, a huge city's
Oh,
going
my
to
God.
It's gonna be
disappear.
fine.
But you were telling me it even gets more interesting because what you're telling me is that the sea level doesn't have anything to do with CO2 at all because CO2 won't warm water. You said once again you got back to the quantum physics of CO2 won't warm water.
The quantum physics of the CO2 molecule don't support that.
All right, well, let's take a look here. We're going to go back to the U.S. trends because you said you had something really interesting. You said that they're always talking about New York. Al Gore always uses New York.
New York is always an example.
As an example. And you said if you go down here to Battery Park, which is right at the bottom of Manhattan, and you take a look here, that you'll see that it's not alarming rate again. Once again, that looks awfully like there's a huge increase, but once again, that's only 2.85. That's stacking 2 pennies on top of themselves. And you're telling me that would take over 100,000 years to flood
Yes.
the Empire State Building? And you said that's longer than a glacial cycle?
That's longer than a glacial cycle.
Whoa!
So we'd already be in a ice age before then.
But once again, look where the current level is. The current level is here, and if I draw a line back here, that current level is the same level it was in 1955, 1960, many of these things. So basically, there's really no increase in sea level at all, really. But you're saying it even gets more interesting than that?
Yes,
Yeah.
it gets more interesting.
But Professor Backflip, you were saying if you go out on the West Coast, you're going to find that some that are actually declining?
Yes.
That's crazy.
That might even be more concerning because
All right.
it's declining at a different rate.
Oh, my
But
God.
let's let the chart
Let's
speak
go
for
take a
itself.
so you were saying let's just go to Alaska or something. You were saying let's
Yeah.
go find Alaska.
A very cold
that's
place.
on the West Coast, and that's up near the Arctic, which they're always worried about.
Everyone says the Arctic is if glaciers were really
Oh,
melting,
Juno.
the Arctic would be the one with the huge increase in sea level, wouldn't it?
All right, you're right. So, all right. So let's take a look at Juneau, and that goes back to 36, and click on that.
And it goes up to current times.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Holy moly! Look at that! You're telling me that is what 4 times the rate of what's going on in Miami on the
4
other side?
times.
So what you're telling me is the West Coast is gaining land at 4 times the pace that the East Coast is losing land?
Yes.
So isn't that
Yep.
now once again, this is just I'm just taking a wild guess here. Doesn't that mean that the West, that America is actually gaining land? And maybe this is why Al Gore buys property on the West Coast?
Yes.
Oh my! So Al Gore has nothing to fear. He's actually going to have his land growing.
Yes. But again, this isn't that concerning because we're talking a few
Concerning,
pennies.
that's great. That's like if I bought an acre of land, a few years later I have more than an acre of land. We're growing on the West Coast. We're not losing. We're not in danger of being flooded. We're gaining land, for God's sakes. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. That is unbelievable. You saying I can do this again? I can just
Yes, let's go to another
let's
chart
go
by
find
the West
another
Coast.
one on the West Coast. Let's go to maybe. Well, you said Washington might be a good example.
Yeah, Washington.
Let's just go find one. That's absolutely crazy. Okay, let's Seattle. You hear about Seattle? Oh, that one goes all the way back here. Look at this one. Oh, that one is actually increasing. 2. But once again, you're talking millimeters, just small millimeters. Let's go back and find another one.
It's not really concerning unless it's increasing by more than 4 millimeters at a time.
Yeah, or accelerating, I think is
Yeah.
what you meant to say. And I didn't see any Oh, that was another thing you were going to point out, was that the change in sea level hasn't accelerated. Let's just go. Let's find a long-term one back. Here's Crescent City, California. What is that? What? Oh, that's decreasing. So once again, Crescent City is actually gaining land. And so what you were telling me is that if you go around and you just randomly select ones on the West Coast, you find a lot of them that are actually gaining land.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
You'll see you're gaining land here, and over there you're losing tiny
So
bits
America
of land.
is actually probably gaining land with the sea level stuff. This is
Yeah.
the craziest. And you're telling me that a lot of things cause the sea level change, and largely tectonic plates. It has nothing to do with CO2.
Yeah,
Yes.
CO2 has nothing to do with sea level changes.
Yeah, because multiple reasons. So that's absolutely fascinating. So once again, if you want to check out what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is doing, all you got to do is you got to go here, Find a weather station near Miami, Florida. The reason you don't want to use Miami is because it only goes up to 81, which is kind of bizarre to me.
But
Hey, here's Daytona Beach. Oh, wait, here's one that goes back to 28. Oh, wait, Daytona goes to 25. Let's take a look here.
But that only goes up to 83.
Oh, rats. Let's go. Yeah, you're right. We don't want to get away from that. That's too spotty a data. Okay, but let's take a look at this one. Oh, the other one we should check is like Greenland or something. See what it's doing.
Yeah, Greenland.
Here's Port Townsend, Washington. Here's
It's hard to find good
Seattle.
data now, isn't it?
Yeah. Here's Ketchikan, Alaska. Let's take a look at Ketchikan, Alaska. Whoa, there's another one. Once again, a negative trend.
Slowly decreasing.
So once again, it's kind of hard to explain why, if CO2 is causing this, why CO2 could increase from about 300 here to 400 here, and the trend didn't change
Yeah,
at all.
especially
It
when
actually goes down.
CO2 is all even throughout.
That's absolutely crazy. So once.
All right, is that over?